You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Richie Bradshaw. I'm your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. Now, I was hoping that this thing was going to start at 6 because then, 15 minutes in, still fighting that cold, 15 minutes in, we would have been able to see the ranking, but not to be. We will be. Hutch, you are indeed first. Good, sir. We got 2 minutes to kill. Apparently, it's not starting until 6:18. So, while we're waiting, for anyone who's in here, what do you think they're going to be ranked? Looking at the AP poll, right, and seeing that they gave ASU number 14 in the AP poll. I'm not going to lie, I didn't even see what the coaches poll is at this point. I'm not sure, and I know it doesn't have nearly as much value as AP and the college football playoff poll, but 14, I'd say it's a good start. I'd say that that's the ranking that ASU should have had with the first poll that they cracked into, not 21. 21 was very disrespectful for me. You beat I think K-State was number 17 at the time, and you don't beat them, you beat the brakes off of them. Don't look at the scoreboard. That was a pummeling in that game. It was not nearly as close as the 10-point win that it ended up looking like. ASU handled that game. I wish that they kept the foot on the pedal, but, they didn't. They still won the game. Same thing kind of happened against BYU. I talked about it a little bit this week. If you haven't checked out those podcasts, definitely check them out for a more detailed explanation of my thoughts on all of that. But you beat number 17 Kansas State. You beat them in Manhattan, the Little Apple, on the road, and you're only 21. Like, I don't care if ASU was ranked or was outside at 28 or 29 or something like that. You beat number 17. You beat them convincingly. You control your own fate to the college football playoff. You should at least be number 17. At least take their place, especially because you dropped K-State out of the poll. So you didn't have a problem getting K-State out of there, but you had a problem putting ASU that high. Dude, is it now 6:29? They keep pushing it back. Well, hopefully, we'll be able to get to this before the end of this live, because unfortunately I do have to jump ship to get over to the Locked On Big 12 squad, which will be dropping tomorrow instead of Thursday like we normally do. So we always record Tuesday nights and get ahead of it. The Big 12 squad will be coming out tomorrow, and I plan to make fun of a lot of guys on there, especially the host, Drake Toll. You guys can give him hell as well. Drake Toll is not I wouldn't call him not a supporter of ASU. He comes across as a bit of a non-believer. I see his posts all the time from Locked On Big 12, and he'll tweet out, oh my God, BYU is losing. The end of the world is here for the conference to go to the playoff. Oh my God, Colorado lost. And I text him. I'm like, dude, have you considered Arizona State? We're going to be fine. ASU wins against, when ASU beats U of A this weekend and they go to the Big 12 title game, whoever they play, we should be able to give them a good run for their money. And if we are able to take them down and move on to win the Big 12 championship, they're not going to keep you out. And there's a handful of reasons for that. And probably the biggest one is if you think in the first year of a 12-team college football playoff format, if you think that the committee is willing to leave out one of the Power 4 conferences champions, that's not going to happen. Like, I understand that Army had a really good chance before they lost to Notre Dame to go undefeated, and you probably don't keep them out of the playoff at that point. Boise State, if they win out, they've only got one loss, and that loss is to Oregon, which pretty quality loss if you're going to have a loss on the year. You would have a difficult time keeping those teams out. But I also don't know that you would be able to justify leaving what Arizona State out of the playoff, especially or just in general, like the Big 12 champion. Like even if it's BYU or Iowa State or Colorado, I don't know that you can leave them out because it is a Power 4 school. And that's just not a debate that the college football committee, I assume, would be willing to fight. You would hope so. But back to the point at hand. The ranking. They've got to do them justice. They didn't do them justice when they gave them 21. It was better when the AP gave us 14. I will tell you, I was pretty stoked about 14 because that's a 7 point jump, whatever you want to call it. And it was well deserved. I mean, ASU's deserved to be ranked all year long. We have been banging that drum for months now. And they have sat on their hands, and then ASU would lose. And then it would go, oh, well, they just lost. We're going to push them down. Like, we get into like that first 5 or 6 out. After the first 3 weeks, you lose to Texas Tech, and they just forget about you. And then you go out and you beat Kansas and you beat Utah, and they start thinking about it again, and then they leave you out because you lost to Cincinnati. And it's like, I don't think that's fair that you continue to leave ASU out of these rankings, especially when you look at how they win and who they're beating and everything. So it's about time they got ranked. 21, hey, it was a start, but I mean, we should have been ranked a long time ago. Jumping us up to 14, boom. That's what I want to see. That is a great step in the right direction. Unfortunately, 14 does not get you in the playoff. So if they place us 14 again tonight, it's not the end of the world. It's not the final poll. We have time to be able to get better. But if you move up to 14, to me, that's a really big deal because you have at least one more regular season game against U of A this weekend. And you're going to win. You're not going to lose. You win that game, you go to the Big 12 championship. Now, I don't know how much you would move up if you beat U of A, who is a bottom dweller in the Big 12. You call it what it is. They are a 4-win team. You are supposed to beat them. You're supposed to beat them pretty handedly. I think the updated line from FanDuel is 9 points. I could be wrong. But you should be able to beat them pretty convincingly. If you do beat them convincingly, then there shouldn't be an issue moving ASU up a couple of spots, probably into the top 12. This is assuming they leave us at 14, by the way. I wouldn't have an issue with that. What I would have an issue with is if you beat U of A, you're going to the Big 12 championship game and they don't move you up. I would have a problem with that. I don't care that it's U of A. What I care about is you are a top 2 finisher in the Big 12. I'm 85% positive that if you win this game against U of A, you finish the regular season in first place of the Big 12. That's pretty nuts for the team that was picked to finish last. But that's another reason why ASU should move up. If they beat U of A by 1 point or if they beat them by 100 points, they need to move up because you are going to be securing first place in your conference heading into the conference title game. You can't leave them off at that point. You can't leave them out of the top 12. It would be dumb. It would be silly to not have them in there. So that's just got to be fixed. They have got to make sure that ASU or Colorado or BYU or Iowa State are in that are in that position to be able to brain fart to go to the college football playoff. If you win the Big 12 and you're like 14, that's terrible. That's terrible. The Big 12 winner should be no worse, in my opinion, than top 10, probably top 8. So I guess we're going to see and find out in just a moment what the latest ranking is going to be for ASU. It should be no lower than 14. If it were up to me, I would probably put them at 12. It's starting. Okay, cool. Let me find that. I am a user of YouTube TV, which is amazing. So we'll go ahead and find that. Catching up. It's after a college basketball game. Well, there you go. That would be why we had to wait. Excuse me. Um, Stacy, what's going on? Thank you. I am so tired of Drake Toll disrespecting ASU. BYU is not the Big 12's last hope. That's my thing. Like, I love Drake. I love him to pieces. He's hilarious. He's smart. He knows ball. But when I see him on Twitter, I hardly see him boosting ASU to go to the playoff. Like he's all in on what's it called? On BYU. He's all in on Colorado. He's all in on Iowa State because of like the ranking and everything. But come on, man. ASU's right there. And if ASU wins out and they are an 11-2 program, they're not getting left out of the playoff. Guaranteed, put a stamp on it, certified. You are not leaving an 11-2 program that won a Power 4 conference championship out. So I understand like BYU losing set the conference into madness and Iowa State losing 2 games and Colorado losing 2 games. Like I understand the panic you have, but you also need to understand Drake Toll of Locked On Dose Grande. It's not the end of the world. ASU can still get you there. Bottom line, that's all you need to worry about. All right, we are going to be at 15 because of the disrespect to the program. I really, really hope it is not 15. Dallas Thomas, I'm sorry, but the Locked On Big 12 host said that it's going to be Colorado versus BYU in the championship. Well, you know, Drake Toll, he's a funny guy. He knows ball and everything, but apparently he doesn't know enough ball because ASU is going to that championship game. Oh man, like the tiebreakers are so weird. If I'm not mistaken, ASU either everyone needs to win or they need BYU to win in order to help their strength of schedule. I'm rooting for everyone to win because ASU goes no matter what at that point. That is what I am hoping will happen. But we will wait and see, I suppose. Dude, I cannot find the playoff show. Is it on SportsCenter? Let's see. No, I don't know. I just had it too. That's the thing that's making me upset. Is this it? I don't know. Meanwhile, Dallas, he is thoroughly convinced U of A is beating us this week. Well, Drake Toll is he is one of the Locked On hosts of all time. I will be ripping him to shreds if he says that on the Big 12 squad tonight that we're recording in about 30 minutes. If that comes out of his mouth, Dallas, I promise you, me and Drake are going to square up. And it's not going to be pretty for the pretty boy. Not about it. Where is this? That is actually driving me crazy. Let's see. I'm going to try and go to the live, I guess. So, again, I ask you guys, there's a handful of you guys in here now. Thanks again for tuning in. What do you think ASU is going to be ranked coming up here when they finally announce it, if I am able to find it for myself? There we go. Okay, I got it. Nope. Let's try. I thought I had it. Let's try again. I'm pretty sure I have it. This is just giving me a hard time. What do you guys think ASU should be ranked? I think they should be ranked 12. I assume they're going to be 14 because they typically match those pretty consistently with what the with what the AP poll tends to have. So that's my assumption is we're probably going to be in that same category. Okay, there we go. I finally got it. Finally. Bodes well for Iowa State because that means if they win out and they win the championship, they're also going to be in the top 12. So take that, Drake Toll. We're going to be fine. No way. 16. ASU is number 16 in the college football playoff poll. That, oh my goodness. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pissed. I am pissed. 16? 16. Let's look at the teams ahead. South Carolina, good football team. They're not better than ASU. That is classic SEC love. You can't convince me any other way why South Carolina is ahead of ASU. South Carolina is what, the fifth best team in the SEC? ASU is going to win the conference. More than likely. I mean, they got the best shot. Ole Miss, number 14. Ole Miss has just lost 3 games. They just lost to Florida. You're putting Ole Miss ahead of us. Oh my God, this is so disrespectful. This is so disrespectful. Oh my goodness. This is SEC bias. That's all this is. This is SEC bias. South Carolina is not better than ASU. Ole Miss is not better than ASU. Alabama 13. That is what it is. Alabama's always going to be ranked high. It's just they're Alabama. They're always going to be ranked high. You know what though? South Carolina, Ole Miss, Bama, give me ASU over every single one of them. Absolutely without question. Now, if you put them on the road, you make me go to Tuscaloosa, you make me go to Columbia, you make me go to Oxford. Yeah, it's going to be tougher environments, and it's not guaranteed for ASU at that point. But you give me a neutral site or you give it to me in Tempe, I'm taking ASU to beat all 3 of them. Bama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. I don't care. That is so disrespectful. I am furious right now. Let's check some comments. Alan, ESPN has way too much power and only cares about SEC period. Yeah, that's what this is showing me. That is absolutely what this playoff poll is showing me, is that they only care about promoting the SEC. There's no reason South Carolina and Ole Miss should be ahead of ASU. Absolutely no reason. All right, Dallas, this is setting us up for the 12 seed. This says we will not be 4 seed over Boise. And unfortunately, I would agree that this is the committee saying that we are going to push narratives as much as we can. And don't get me wrong, we've always known that. We have always known that the committee simply cares about pushing narratives to create the best games to watch possible. It just is what it is. Boise State, number 11. Doesn't surprise me. And the reason why they would like Boise State to have a bye week so bad is because they want them to have the best game possible and show Ashton Genty in front of everyone. It's Ashton Genty. So, and Boise State's a good team. Do not get that misconstrued. Boise State is a good football team. They are a playoff team. They should be the Mountain West champion. If you are taking a group of 5 team and putting them in the playoff, it is Boise State. No ifs, ands, or buts. They should be there. But you also can't look me in the eye and tell me that so much of the hype that is driven for Boise State, it absolutely has to do with Ashton Genty being there. It's not Ashton Genty slander. It's not Boise State slander. It's simply the media loves him, and the media knows that me and you, the avid college football fan, know who Ashton Genty is and would love to watch him play at the highest level possible. It also works for the NFL, who would love to see them. All right, top 10. Indiana's number 10. You're not going to get Indiana slander out of me. I actually love Indiana. I would still take ASU to beat Indiana, but the thing that really drives me crazy is the narrative that, like, Indiana hasn't played anyone, blah, blah, blah. And look what they just did against Ohio State. And, like, I get that. First of all, Ohio State still has a chance to win the Big Ten. I don't know that Indiana ever did. Second of all, Indiana didn't create their schedule. They are playing the schedule that is in front of them. So you beat the teams you're scheduled against. And they didn't just beat them, they throttled them. So yeah, Indiana 10-1. You can call them flawed. I call them a good team. SMU, number 9. I actually love that. I think SMU is probably going to win the ACC, much to the dismay of the committee, because, God, there's nothing they would want more than the U to be in there. But I don't think the U has to win the conference, because if they lose another game, or God forbid they don't go to the championship game, I don't know that you can justify getting the U in there. Number 8, Tennessee. I know my brother-in-law loves it. He's a Vols fan. I I really like Tennessee. I do think they are a playoff team as well. I don't have a problem with them being number 8. I really don't. The thing that frustrates me is I know there are 2 more or 1 more? 1 more SEC team ahead of them. At least 1 more. Yeah, because Bama's not in it. Okay. So being the 3rd team in the SEC and being number 8, I understand it. It doesn't kill me. I prefer it different. Georgia, number 7. Georgia's really good. If Carson Beck figures it out, they will be fine. Number 6, Miami. So there you go. They love Miami, and they should. They're a good football team. They're just a flawed football team. All right, let's get back to the comments here. Brandy, number 12. Yeah, they definitely should have been number 12. BC, go Sun Devils. You know it, BC. ASU over Boise. BC knows football. Brandy, ASU, I feel, has a good go at climbing up with a successful year they are having. Yeah, again, 16's not the worst thing in the world. It's just they should be higher, and they've been disrespected all year long, and it hasn't ended. And that's the thing that really frustrates me. But you're at 16, you beat Arizona this week. You would hope that the playoff committee would at least bump you up 2 spots, hopefully more than that, because you'd be in the conference championship at that point. And then if you win the conference championship, you should not be out of the top 10. You win the Big 12, you should not be out of the top 10. That's just clear cut. Whatever. Is what it is. Meaning, what's going on? ASU is number 1. We want to see Jordan Tyson, Shimon Mateer, Sam Levitt, Shamari Simmons, and Scadavu fall out. Those are all of my favorite football players on the team. I am going to make the assumption that you tune into the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, and shout out to you if you do. I love all of those players. We got to get Clayton Smith in there. We got to get CJ Fight in there, Keyshawn Elliott, Caleb McCullough. There's a lot of great teams here. So that much I'm really excited about. Okay, the projected conference champions. So they have ASU at 12, being the Big 12 champion. Good start. So that would guarantee you a playoff spot. That's the best news you can get right now, is that they would be guaranteed a playoff spot. The problem is you're 12. And I personally, I'd be pretty upset if I was a conference champion anywhere, SEC, ACC, whatever, any conference. If I'm a champion, if I'm on a road game as a champion, I don't like that. And that's the problem here, is you would be facing Ohio State in Columbus. I don't like that. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair for a champion to have to go on the road. I don't like that. But you also were saying at that point the ASU has to be top 8 for them to host a game, because 9, 10, 11, and 12 are all going to be road teams. Is the ASU going to be top 8? You would think, as a conference champion and a team that has played as well as they have, the ASU would be in the top 8 teams in the college football playoff. Right now, they are number 16 overall. They are projected to be number 12, courtesy of being the conference champion. That's cool. That's awesome. I appreciate it. It's still really frustrating. Just flat out, this is a very frustrating projection. This is a very frustrating poll. There's no going around it. This is very, very upsetting. And if you are an ASU fan, and I assume you are since you are in here, I would encourage you to also be pretty upset about this. This is not right. Just flat out, this is not right. Diane Bradshaw, hey, Grandma, what's going on? ASU deserves good ranking. They have played lights out this year. It's time to quit disrespecting them. Go Devils. Grandma knows ball, guys. That's where do you think I know ball from? Is Grandma. You guys got to follow Grandma for sure. BC, crush Crush Arizona, win Big 12, then what seed in the playoffs? So if it's up to me, no worse than 8. No worse than 8 if it's up to me. Because you need hosting a game, and I also don't know why you would rank anyone ahead of you. I mean, let's look. For your non-conference champions, I would take right now, I take Ohio State over ASU. I take ASU over Penn State. They wax them. I put that on Twitter earlier. I stand by that. ASU would dominate Penn State. Notre Dame, I would take ASU. I do think Notre Dame's a good team. They lost to NIU. I totally get it. That was really early in the year. They were playing very good defense. I still like ASU. Georgia, I would take Georgia. I said preseason Georgia was winning the national championship. I'm not super firm on that the way I was before, but I still don't have a problem with them. Tennessee, I think that's a really good game. I think that comes down to home field advantage. If you're in Neyland, I probably go Tennessee. If you're in Tempe, I go ASU. SMU, that's another really good game. And I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on SMU. That is a great football team that could end up winning the ACC. It should be between them and Miami, but you can't sleep on Clemson either. And then it moved on. And then Indiana at number 11. You would beat Indiana. I think it'd be a lot closer game than people think, though. Indiana is not a bad football team. Heard it here first. All right, let's go ahead and close out YouTube Live or YouTube TV, and let's just hang out for the last few minutes. We're going to be hanging up here pretty shortly. Tomorrow's podcast, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. This is what I'm going to do. We are going to be talking about this poll. I'm going to present the argument for why it's shenanigans. I'm going to discuss why ASU deserves to be higher, and we'll round it out talking about if ASU wins out, where I would put them. But spoiler alert, if you guys are in here, you know I would put them no worse than number 8. R. Yates 16. They just need to let the disrespect fuel them to victory. I believe they will use it as motivation. And you know what? I can't think of a better way to look at this as a team. Me, as someone in the media who runs a podcast, I'm pissed. I flat out, I've got no other way to describe it. It is swear words that I can't say here, but you know what I'm thinking. The team, Kenny Dillingham and Sam Levitt and the rest of them, I have no doubt they watched tonight because they know how important it is at this point. I don't think they are pissed. I think you nailed it. I think they are disrespected. I think that they are going to feel very overlooked, and that's going to turn into some big-time motivation for them. You're going to go to Tucson this week. There's a lot of big factors playing into this game. U of A is 4 wins. Their season is over on Saturday. They have no postseason to play for. So you know that they're going to come out and they're going to say, well, we got nothing to lose. But we can ruin ASU's season. And they can, because if U of A wins ASU season, like you're going to a really good bowl game. Like I know the Holiday Bowl executive, the Alamo Bowl executive, the Pop-Tart Bowl executive were talking with Kenny Dillingham recently over the last few weeks. You're going to a good bowl game no matter what. But with where you're at right now, it would kind of be disappointing to only go to the Alamo Bowl when you have a chance to go to the college football playoff. So, yeah, Arizona's going to be playing with that hope that they can ruin the season for Arizona State. You would hope that this playoff poll is, sorry, that is my reminder to get on the Big 12 show. So let's turn that off and restart our conversation. BC, I just saw Pop-Tart Bowl. Yeah, I think the Pop-Tart Bowl is one of the bigger ones personally. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the Pop-Tart Bowl is one of the bigger ones, and they should be able to only continue to grow, especially with the popularity behind it and everything. Everyone loved it last year. So anyways, you should also have the motivation if you are Arizona State. I'm going to wrap it up here real quick. To go into Tucson knowing a few things. One, that Arizona is going to do everything they can to ruin your season. Expect fake punts, expect fake field goals, expect them going for it on 4th down, all sorts of trick plays. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at you because why not? What do you have to lose? 2, this is the Territorial Cup. You have lost 2 in a row. You cannot lose 3 straight. That is a really bad look for this program. That would be really bad look for Kenny Dillingham to start his tenure 0-2 against Arizona. Number 3, you just got disrespected by the College Football Playoff Committee again. So you need to come out, blow the doors off of Arizona, and prove like, hey, just so you know, we are not the 16th best team in the playoff poll. Congratulations, you are currently the 5th conference champion, so you would be in the playoff at number 12. That's not good enough for me. It's not even remotely close enough to being good enough for me. Super duper B, bulletin board motivation, nailed it. ASU needs to win by 20 plus. As long as they don't take their foot off the pedal in the second half like they have done the last 2 weeks, they should easily win by 20 plus. The 8.5 point spread, they should easily cover that. All right, we're going to wrap it up right here. Last thing here from our Yates 16. They need to play full 4 quarters. There it is. And their style of football against Arizona, they will win if they keep up the intensity they have shown in the first half. Dude, it's like you stole the words out of my mouth. That will be the key to this game. You have to play 4 quarters. If you only beat U of A by a single possession, that's really bad for you. If you beat them by 10, it's a good start. Beat them by 17 or more, that should get the attention of the College Football Playoff Committee. But that's where we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. There was a lot of you guys in here. You are all the best, all the support. I love each and every single one of you. If you tuned into this and you haven't hit subscribe yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. Turn on your notifications. It's the best content for ASU. I'm going to keep you posted every single day. Football, there's a little bit of basketball going on that I'll keep you posted with, but it's the best place for your Arizona State content. My everydayers, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you as a whole. Best fans in the world. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.